This is it, the ultimate Venator. Forget everything you know about LEGO, because after watching this video you'll be scratching your head trying to comprehend the correlation between LEGO as a medium and physics, because this is redefining it. This is not AI, this is real. Hey everyone, welcome back to BrickVault. My name is David, and what is that for an intro, right? I made some big promises there, but if you give me just these next 15 to 20 minutes of your day, I will blow your mind. This is the Venator class Star Destroyer by incredibly talented designer Fly in Space. Fly in Space made quite a few builds for BrickVault already, and you could say he mastered his profession. With builds like our UCCS Acclamator or the Gozanti class cruiser, Fly in Space caught all the attention in the custom build world. This model accompanies our other Venators in the store, like the amazing 11,000 parts UCCS Venator by Martin Letter, the midi-scale Venator by NoPrintGrid, and Fly in Space's very own Venator that has half the parts count of this new one and is about 25% smaller. Now with this Venator he has done it again. I don't think the Venator needs an introduction, but for the sake of completeness, the Venator is the main capital ship of the Republic Navy in Star Wars. It's actually the first ship that was seen in everyone's favorite movie Revenge of the Sith, and every LEGO fan always wanted a Venator in their collection. I can remember being a kid and seeing the custom Venator by Ennio back in 2010 for the first time and just thinking, I need this. It was way ahead of its time, but now with everything going smooth and with all the new LEGO pieces we have now, it feels a bit outdated. It's crazy how far custom builders have come over these past 15 years. Ennio's Venator had 5,500 pieces and is 112 cm long or 3.6 feet, almost the same numbers as the UCS Venator LEGO set. Fly in Space's Venator on the other hand is just 86 cm long or 2.8 feet, but has almost 7,000 parts at 6,980 to be exact. With all the shrinking of recent LEGO sets, but them also losing details simultaneously, this right here is the way to go. Shrinking it, but also making it way more detailed. The parts count speaks for itself. This Venator is also to scale with 2M's incredible UCCS Imperial Star Destroyer, the Eviscerator, which is awesome, and I wish I had that model in the studio to compare to, but luckily Fly in Space made this artwork to showcase them next to each other. It also almost scales perfectly to our nanoscale invisible hand by 10 bricks. It's off by just about 10 centimeters, which isn't a lot, so I think they'd still look awesome next to each other. This Venator, along with countless other custom builds, can actually be built by you watching this video right now. All you need to do is to head on over to our web store www.brickvault.toys to get the building instructions and parts list. We hand test each build and instruction, and with your purchase you support the incredible designers we work with, like Fly in Space. At the time of the release of this video, we are currently running a huge Black Friday sale, so if you're looking for a winter project, this is your chance to save actually quite some money on the instructions. Just click the link in the video description or visit brickvault.toys. The proceeds help to fund the next awesome creation. The build was incredible. I took quite some shots of the construction this time, so here are some fun facts while I show you how this build came to be, from skeleton to attaching the panels, engines and bridge. This Venator took me 3 whole days to build, start of the day to end of the day, so maybe like 15 to 20 hours I think. During the build I finished 12 podcast episodes, and that may seem a bit overly dramatic, but literally seasons changed during the build of this. It was 15 degrees Celsius when I started the build, and yesterday it went down to -1 degree and I had to scrape the ice off the windshield of my car. So yeah, this took me some time. Luckily, my new studio that I plan to show you guys in all detail soon has quite the view from my building space, looking out on the river and parked boats. The really sturdy Technic skeleton of this model gets attached to a black stand, and afterwards engines get attached and panels get connected one by one. Most of these sub-assemblies have been engineered so precisely that they only need a couple of connection points to sit what we in Germany call bombenfest, which directly translates to bomb-proof, which means something like so sturdy a bomb can't tear it apart. They nestle in so nicely that there is practically no room for them to move around, they just find their final resting place naturally. The designer himself told me no compromises were made during the design process, and it truly pushed the limits of him as a designer. The whole design phase took him only 10 days with 5 to 6 hours of design time total. Of course, that stretched over the course of a couple of months, but still impressive as hell, especially for such a refined model as this. The end result is stunning. The model is 86 cm long or 2.8 feet, 42 cm wide or 1.3 feet, and 26 cm tall on the black stand or 0.8 feet. To give you a better sense of scale, here's a houseplant as a size reference. This is the movie version and not the Clone Wars version. The main difference is the placement of the Republic Navy insignia, which in the movie version sits in front of the dark bluish grey details. The UCS Venator, for example, is the Clone Wars version. Fly in Space also made the fully grey version that we see at the end of episode 3. This whole model is as smooth as you can get with LEGO pieces. There are just a handful of studs showing, each one being intentionally placed for detail, but that doesn't even matter because it's not about studs showing or not showing, it's about the feeling you get when you look at it and how this model plays with your perception of scale. Using all these small pieces gives it this natural greebling, giving the illusion of it being absolutely enormous, especially if you don't know LEGO as a medium and see an image of this. Starting in the very front, you can see how all these different shapes come together here. We have panel pieces in dark red on top to form the red stripe that goes down the center of the Venator, and this selection of parts is just genius here because it allows for the side of the raised red stripe to be light bluish grey, while only the top is dark red. Also, he used panels on top of panels to give it the slightly raised uneven texture of the red stripe, and the light bluish grey pieces on top have been intentionally placed here as well. This whole section is angled downwards, but also inwards ever so slightly. You can see that if you take a look at how the slopes at the end are angled a bit and leave a small gap in the middle. The attention to detail here is insane, because he doesn't just have to angle the dark red slopes, but also the light bluish grey slopes so they fit together like this, only to achieve the right angle on the color blocking. Totally unnecessary, which makes it so cool. The main hull of the Venator has an outline in universe that has been captured in this model very nicely as well, using again panel pieces, which was super satisfying to put on the unfinished looking main hull panels. It just rounds up the edges so nicely. The surface has some intentional imperfections, like small bits of greebling here and there, and the use of greeble bricks instead of smooth ones to make this look more rugged and technical. There are also some container door pieces used here to raise some sections slightly from the rest. There are lines built into the surface using slopes, which is highly accurate to the quote-unquote real thing, and the way the Republic Navy insignia is built is awesome as well. I'm always a fan of BrickVault logos or insignias. I've done so quite a few times in the past myself, and Fly in Space seems to enjoy it as well. Just so much better than any stickers or prints. Behind the insignias we have the turrets, 4 on each side, that have been built very cleverly using minifigure Thor's hammer pieces, which I gotta admit is the perfect piece for this purpose. The area around the turrets is also a little recessed, which is accurate. The red striping is accurately cut off at an angle by the outlining subassembly, and that's a detail that no single LEGO Venator out there recreates as accurately as this one does. The back of the red stripes is also angled ever so slightly. Here it's done again with the help of panel pieces. The dark bluish grey sandwich style detail along the sides Fly in Space just saw as an invite to get creative here. This is some of the most intricate greebling detail I have ever put together. This is all built so deeply into the sides, there are just tips of pieces poking out for specific details, like the tip of a minifig ski piece. The rest of the part is on the inside and completely ignored. No two details here are the same. It's all different and unique. How Fly in Space was able to squeeze so much detail into the sides is just nuts to me as well, with a space narrower than 1 brick thickness. There are turrets recreated here using screwdriver pieces. The hangar is in open configuration here. You can see the deflector shield's blue glow, but you can also swap it out for the closed up configuration. For that you just gotta remove the whole subassembly, and with a little wiggle you can get the stack of transparent blue parts out to switch it out for the doors. looks a little cleaner maybe, but it's totally subjective which look you prefer. The superstructure is built up with quite a few different subassemblies, all angled in ways that are accurate to the in-universe thing. There are ingot pieces on the sides which have been recessed by half a stud to recreate the windows on the Venator, which is interesting, and especially the sloping in the middle of the ship is really interesting to look at because it uses pieces in really weird ways. You definitely have to look twice to spot all the different types of pieces here, and some are put together in ways that I haven't seen before and didn't know worked together like this. The bridges are built up very nicely too. There's not much space to work with here, yet the details on top look very accurate, and again, I didn't know these two pieces fit together like this. In the back we have the massive array of thrusters. They all have transparent light blue glow in them to represent thrust coming out, which is really badass looking. Also, take a moment to appreciate the details on the protruding section here in the back, where the 2009 LEGO set has the escape pod. Definitely not something you'd be looking at too often, yet this whole section is again built so intricately that I don't want to know how long it took to just design this. The underside has been built up just like the top. No compromises have been made on this whole model. The bottom panels are almost built the same way as the top panels in terms of how they are constructed. There is an assembly built just for the center part of the underside. That assembly alone and how it got inserted is just great. During the build I didn't know exactly what I was building, and I was surprised when I had to attach it to the skeleton because now you won't ever see it again. Kind of sad, so if you want to appreciate all the aspects of this build, make sure to maybe display this on top of a mirrored surface. There's also the hangar bay that even has details to recreate the crane arm on rails. Again, details you probably won't be seeing again after building. The amount of attention to detail just blows my mind. Fly in Space studied the ship as if he could get a bachelor's degree out of this. The model rests on a stand that is deeply built into the skeleton and can't be taken off easily. Technically it's resting on 3 points in the stand because the rear pillar is split into 2. This is also where I would transport the ship around. You can easily grab the 2 black beams of the stand or slide it off the table very carefully to get a grip from underneath the stand. The model itself feels very robust, and again there is not much room for subassemblies to get all messy or disconnect, but especially with so many small details, things can fall off if you grab the Venator itself instead of the stand. It's all connected well enough to touch it everywhere, but again this is a display piece through and through and should be viewed as such. But let's come to a conclusion here and let me give you my final thoughts. Okay, I'm sold. Usually I'm always open to the possibility of having updates for models in the future once new pieces come out or designers improve their skills or our perspective as a community shifts towards accuracy, detail and use of pieces, like happened before when suddenly it became prominent to lay bricks on their sides for smooth surfaces for example, but this time I'm standing behind my word. This is as close as perfect as you can get with real LEGO pieces. The next step would be a model kit where each piece is specifically molded to look like all the different shapes on the Venator. And I'm not saying this lightheartedly, I truly believe with the current catalogue of LEGO parts and without gluing or cutting pieces or having parts interfere with each other, I'm really confident there is not much room for improvement here. That is of course if you see this as it's supposed to be, a display model of the Venator class Star Destroyer. There are always different approaches, and if you go bigger or shift your focus towards play or swooshability, of course there are many ways to improve this design. And quote-unquote improvement is obviously subjective, but if your focus is on accuracy, this is it, and it's not supposed to be any of the before mentioned. It feels like Fly in Space is ignoring all the different connection points that LEGO pieces usually have to be able to fit together, and he just throws them together how he likes, and they coincidentally also happen to connect that way. It feels so casual, as if they were supposed to go together like this, yet especially as a designer myself, I know how many hours one can sit at just a small area of a model. The more impressive it is to see this model being so refined and engineered to the T. With builds like these, he makes me question my raison d'etre as a LEGO designer. This model gives me butterflies in my stomach when I look at it, and I have to apologize because this video can never be objective for me, because this is my love letter to it, that even my girlfriend would be happy to receive something like that from me someday. This is an ode to LEGO building. Thank you everyone for watching. Again, remember, if you want to have the same experience that I tried to bring across in this video, you can find the building instructions on BrickVault.toys. Don't forget that we have a huge Black Friday sale with insane discounts going on right now, so you might want to check out our other models as well. Please consider to leave a like if you enjoyed this video and specifically this LEGO model. Also consider subscribing to not miss out on future releases. And with that, I hope you have a great rest of your week, and I'll catch you in the next one at BrickVault.